No. Whenever you're talking about big names like that, they're attached to more things. Not to discredit Wiley, because Wiley is very important to our own British culture and music in general, right? But Wiley's arena is clearly musically based, right? So it's different. Drivers Mate podcast, back with another one. Thank you for your time. I sincerely appreciate you watching and spending time with me, and all the feedback is excellent. Thank you for your time, I appreciate it. Glad I can entertain you and sometimes hopefully educate you, right? Check out my main channel at CNCCMI. Also, don't forget you can reach me on all social media platforms and sign up to Patreon if you're interested in that kind of stuff, right? So let's get into it. Today, what am I doing? Reaction style video. And what happens in a reaction style video? I click on a YouTube short at random, and then you get my opinion if I have one, and my initial reaction, of course.
About a month ago, Kanye went on his crazy rant, and somehow your name got dragged into that.
You know, Cubes really set me up for this. You know, man, it's like you really influenced me to get on this anti-Semite, vibe.
Whoa!
And I'm here to
Whoa!
finish the job.
No, that's wild, G.
When a nigga turn the party out and say, he did it because of you.
Wow.
You have to say something about that.
Oh my God.
It's like, homie.
Wow.
You had somebody to do. Homie. That's what he said.
And it, no.
That's you, bro.
I say not like
At the
that.
end of the day, I just had to let everybody know that, don't blame me for shit.
Your shit.
Talk your shit if you want to, but don't blame me for shit.
Yeah. About a month ago, Kanye went on.
Oh my God, like, I don't know where. Ooh, is this something I should be even speaking about or looking at? I don't know, man. Jewish people, don't hate me. I'm just reacting to something that I've seen, right? Well, I hate me if you want. It's a shit, right? I have a Jewish first name anyway, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. But that was kind of funny, and that was like a white person saying, "I got black friends." Anyways, right? Oh boy, this is a sticky topic, right? Anyway, right? Where do you start? So that looks like it was last year, right? And this year that I'm recording this is 2023, right? You might see this in another year. Who knows? You may never see this, but that looks like that's what happened in 2022, right? The infamous run of Kanye West's anti-Semitism, right? Boy, what a time to be alive, wasn't it, right? And I like Kanye West, and I'm not even going to be completely impartial about it, right? I respect Jewish people, and I respect Judaism as a whole, right? And everything that comes from it, from the culture to the religion to its people, right? I respect them as much as I do Islamic people and the Arabian culture, right? It's all the same to me, right? People are people. So let's get that out of the way. Now, I'm not making excuses for Kanye, first of all, right? I'm not doing that. But I'm saying, to be honest here, I am a fan, not a fanatic, right? Or a supporter per se, but I grew up listening to Kanye West, right? I love Kanye West's music, and sometimes I love the things that he says, right? Because he breaks that fourth wall of like illusionary politics, right? That apparently exists and is at play in the entertainment world, right? So at times he's not scared to break that wall and just be like, look, this is what it is, this is what happens, right? I'm gonna do this, I said this, and bang. He just doesn't care sometimes, or he's either not thinking before he speaks, much like myself, right? Or he's actually calculated and strategic with what he's doing, right? Some people may say that is the matter, because you don't get to be a billionaire and reach that status without having a level of calculated thought going into your actions and efforts, right? Just from his start to his current position in life, right? So from going from his mum's house producing beats to being a billionaire married to Kim Kardashian, albums and clothes and everything like that. You don't just get there by accident, okay? So with that out of the way, let's understand this, right? Like I said, I like Kanye West. I'm scared now. I'm scared to say I'm a supporter of Kanye West. Like, look what you've done, right? Look how you've censored society in a way to say, oh man, we can't like this guy because he did this thing, right? Now, let me just be honest and just say, fuck what you did, right? if you was wrong, you was wrong, right? That has nothing to do with me anyway, right? I like you as a person. I like the music you make. I like the stuff you create, right? So fuck that, right? Anyway, the anti-Semitism, I can't agree with it, and I can't promote it because it's just wrong. It's not good to treat a whole subset of people like that. Can I call them a subset, a subgroup, a subgenre, a subculture? Who knows, right? Whatever they identify as, it's not good to say some of the things that he said. Right now, I can't remember everything he said last year, but there was a lot, right? He done Alex Jones, he done I forget what that dude's called, man. It's another big podcast like Joe Rogan, right? He did that, guys, right? And that guy was giving him certain pressure points and tactics, right? But anyway, so the initial fallout that happened that year, if I can remember correctly, was something to do with business contracts, right? And music business contracts and clothing contracts. So at that point, I think Kanye was literally a billionaire plus, right? So he was a multi-billionaire at that point. And he was going through a mad stage. I can't call him mad, right? Because people are mad. You just don't understand their perspective, right? You ain't lived it, so you don't know. So don't call no one mad. Like Dave Chappelle that says that's dismissive, right? So he's not mad, but the way it's perceived, the Twitter rants were kind of sporadic and mad, right? But we don't know what he was doing. Only he knows what he was doing. So anyway, I recall him posting up record contracts and a lot of random statements, right? And they're not even that memorable, otherwise I would be thinking about them now, exactly the things that he said, right? But he did all that during that year, and he appeared on Drink Champs twice, I think, and one of them got banned, right? They took it off the TV, but a lot of people got the leaked version and re-uploaded it, right? I remember distinctly listening to that and thinking, bro, is that what man is on, right? Is that what's going on over there? But the message of it, right, was a similar thing to what happened to our own Richard Cowie Wiley in England, right? An outburst that is directed at a few people, but with the wrong language, right? So you make it seem like it's all of the people. So that's a similar thing that happened, right? But on a much bigger scale, because we're talking billionaires and clothing brand businesses, Kim Kardashian's businesses, you name it. It goes on and on and on. Whenever you're talking about big names like that, they're attached to more things. Not to discredit Wiley, because Wiley is very important to our own British culture and music in general, right? But Wiley's arena is clearly musically based, right? So it's different. So yeah, Kanye was posting up all of these contracts and making all of these comments and things about people and actual business people. At one point, man was just leaking whole text messages with big corporation leaders and CEOs and everything, right? He was just moving mad, right? So eventually the Jewish defamation people, or whoever they are, came at him like hard, right? They put the hammer down on him, right? And there was pressure being put on Elon Musk, having him on his platform, and all this other stuff was happening around him. But the bigger conversation that was being had is it true that Jewish people, particular Jewish people, right, are pulling the strings and have the power play in all of the entertainment and clothing industries, right? Let's just say all industry across, right? Similar to the same kind of stupid, nonsensical thing that Hitler was saying on the German economy, right? It's run by Jews and thieves and all of this kind of stuff, right? Now, Kanye never said it like Hitler said it, and none of the other artists that came out and said that stuff said it like Hitler said it, from an actual, we hate Jews, let's get them, yeah? They never said it like that, right? They were talking about business dealings, right? Shady music business dealings, right? And it's not just Jewish people, it's all the people involved in it. But it seems from a perspective outside looking in that the most powerful key figures and players usually turn out to be of some kind of Jewish heritage or lineage, right? Ironically, I don't know if it's true or not, we don't know, but the biggest names, the most visible ones are Jewish, okay? So there's that. He was coming at it from a point of view like that. Now they went and did whatever they did through legal battles and made him lose his $1 billion deal with Adidas, right? Or whatever it is. Because Adidas was literally taking his Yeezys and all of his designs and just hyper manufacturing them and just making them so wholesale and watered down that every time you go in the shop you see a different version of Yeezus, right? Or something that's not called Yeezy but it looks like Yeezy, right? So they were just taking his ideas and all of that, just using it for whatever they wanted, right? And he had a problem with that, which he should, because it's intellectual property, it's his IP, right? They're watering it down and mass producing it like big companies do, right? So that was part of his argument. There was an argument to say that because he's brought so much revenue and revived the brand of Adidas, he should be on the board. And there was all of those arguments happening. So it wasn't just about Jewish people and anti-Semitism, right? That was an effect that came off the back of it by the reaction of people to it, right? So because of that reaction of people, and Piers Morgan interviewed him as well, right? So yeah, there was a lot of interviews around that time. But off the back of that reaction, he just doubled down and said, all right, if you're going to call me an anti-Semitic or Semite, right, I'm just going to go all the way in. And then you had NBA players that posted films about the true Jews and real Hebrews are black and African lineage and all the tribes of Judah or whatever they're called, or the tribes of David. I can't remember, right? But anyway, there's a whole subset of people, I don't know why I keep saying subset, but there's a whole group of people that believe the Europeanized or the light-skinned Jewish people are not the real Jews, and they've stolen the birthright of another set of people, right? Then that argument cascades into them taking land and making it Israel and based on holy. It's just crazy, right? As a normal person, who gives a fuck, right? But on a big world player level, you have to give a fuck, right? Because it's powerful. Things happen. It changes the world. But as an average person, gives a fuck, right? I don't care. Anyway, so yeah, all of those things were happening. So it was basically around business contracts with Adidas and entertainment contracts with record labels, right? Now he started to expose a lot of stuff, and he called out a few individuals, and then it turned into you're an anti-Semite, so he doubled down, and he said some very abhorrent things, you might say, right? And he didn't care, right? And maybe he did it on purpose. There's a perspective that he was trying to get out of his contracts anyway, right? So he used this controversy to put a loophole in the contracts with Yeezy and record labels so he could get out, right? And then give you Donda and all of these Jesus is King albums, whatever the last couple albums were called, right? I can't remember. And the whole stadium, like it was quite a controversial big 2 or 3 years for Kanye West, right? But now, I don't actually recall what it is that Ice Cube said in the past, like in the early 90s or the late 80s, but he had been accused of anti-Semitism too, right? And some of the people that surround the Nation of Islam, things like that were happening in the early 90s and the late 80s, had anti-Semitic accusations placed against them based off what they said and what they did, right? And I think Ice Cube was mixed up in that in some way. And then there was the Jerry Heller, I think, thing with Eazy and NWA and all kinds of, like I said, it's very, very entrenched entertainment, law, business bullshit, right? That really the average person doesn't get to see. We just see the effects of, right? So yeah, like the average person, there's an average Jewish person, right? Because I've worked in Jewish communities before. You get your hyper staunch orthodox kind of Jewish people, and then you get your just normal Jewish people, right? That don't treat you any different than they treat an Asian guy, a black guy, a white guy. They're just normal people. But then there's also extremists of every group, right? So you've got to remember that. And there's genocidal Jewish people, like there's genocidal European white people or Catholic Christian people. They're in every group, right? So just remember that there's bad people in every group. So is it right to taint a whole group of people? Because I don't know if it's even right to call Jewish people a race, because there's only one race, the human race, but there's a semantics, right? Is it right to group a whole people or call a whole group of people bad based on the actions of a few? Probably not, right? And it doesn't make sense to characterize everybody off of the negative people in groups. Although it's arguable that it happens to black people the most, right? Of all races, of all groups, of all religions, all sects, all continents, black people get it the worst, right? We get the most stereotypes, the most judging, the most classism, all of it, right? We are we are like Sisyphus. We are the bearers of the world to a point. We hold the globe on our whole back, right? But that's neither here nor there. Let's not compare the plights of Jewish people to black people. Although they like to do that, it's not the same. So anyway, I don't know why. I think Kanye was just being facetious or trying to be funny by dragging Ice Cube into it. Right? I don't know why he did that. And it's also just as funny as Ice Cube being like on Mike Tyson's podcast like that. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have nothing to do with that, right? Don't blame me, right? And obviously you can see the comedic side of that. And you can also see the politically charged side of it too, right? Why is this man doing what he's doing? Why is he dragging me into it? Like I ain't got business that I need to worry about as well, right? So yeah, like we discussed in the dutiful demonetization episode where we talked about Tory Lanez and Elon Musk and deplatforming and demonetizing, you can see how these pressure groups, these social groups, have a lot of power and a lot of squeeze to be able to lobby not only companies but for individuals to be suppressed and silenced, right? It happens all the time. Like we discussed in that video, smaller people go under the radar, you never hear them, they never get remembered, they get stuffed in the drawers of history and silenced, while the bigger people come out and get persecuted and portrayed in a certain light that may not even be true, right? All based on the idea that we want to shut them down, so we'll do whatever it takes to shut them down, right? Understood? We get it, right? So in that video we obviously discussed about, do these groups reach a point of going past justice and doing the right thing to ultimately becoming tyrants and trying to control narrative too much too, right? There is that. So is that what Kanye was giving pushback to? That higher level or particular individuals in these groups trying to silence him, trying to put him in bad business contracts? And another thing, right? During that whole rant or that whole season of rants, right? He disclosed some very disparaging information about his inner circle and how his personal trainer was a Mossad kind of agent that was placed there in Hollywood, in America, that puts a lot of people into these psychiatric manipulation programs. We might call it MK Ultra, right? But he said that guy was the reason why he ended up inside of a mental institute, right? They actually forced that upon him. And that's crazy when you think about it. Because although I've had my own struggles with mental health, if a group of people can force the narrative that you're mentally crazy, right, they can just dismiss everything you ever say and ever do as craziness, right? And that is not cool, right? Even if you've overcome whatever struggles you had, they can literally pacify you, right? And just say, and like take, there's a code for it where they take charge of you as if you are somebody, not an invalid, because I don't know if that's the right word to say these days, but you're someone incapable of making decisions for yourself. So they swoop in and take all your rights, all your control, and essentially leave you a pacified, drugged up individual that is considered a crazy, right? And it happens. Look what happened to Britney Spears, bro. That's on a big level. So yeah, that whole period of we seeing Kanye doing strange things, acting strange, is because he was put under psychiatric control, right? He was fed drugs, he was hospitalized, all kinds of weird shit happened to the man, right? So we have to acknowledge that as a human being. Up there at that level, it's hard to know who is really your friend. Are they really your friends, or is it all business? Are they there around you to control and manipulate your life down to every last detail, right? So these aspects have to be considered when a man is willing to actually go out on a platform, say things that will destroy his financial future, potentially get him killed, get him silenced, get him cancelled, right? It takes a lot to say and do certain things at that level, right? It's easy for me and you to say fuck everybody, right? Excuse my language, because shit, we ain't got that much to lose besides our lives, right? It's easy for us to say that, but when you're up there, the full, even the smallest loss seems like dropping from space to earth, right? That is literally what it's like to be a quote-unquote star. So yeah, not saying what he done was right and what he said about Jewish people was right. You can make up your own mind about that. Whatever your opinion is, hopefully it's not a racist, xenophobic opinion, but whatever it is, you're entitled to that, right? But yeah, fuck knows how we ended up down this mad rabbit hole. But if you are at all interested, go and try and find all of that information that's probably been scrubbed from the internet of the things he actually said, right? And not the narrative of what he said. Just like you might one day hear there's a narrative of what I said, when you can just go and look at the actual the resource that I put there of me saying it, right? And make your own opinion. So there's that part of entertainment. So just be aware of that. Of course, it's not cool to be racist and xenophobic, but we have to be honest here. Is that what was happening? Yes, he did say certain things that could be considered disparaging, but I believe that it was over-exaggerated by the people that have power and control to obviously silence, suppress, and make sure things don't change, right? Because some of the points were valid. Business practices are shady, and these people are obviously benefiting from you being in the dark and not knowing about it, right? So just be aware. There's so many different branches of information that come off the back of events like this in life that both enlighten people and reinforce ignorance in others, right? So just be aware of that. And like I said, I'm not condoning any kind of viciousness or visceral anger towards Jewish people, because it's not in my nature. I might say stupid things, but I don't intend for anybody to be hurt off the back of what I say and what I do, right? Just as a disclaimer, giving a very surface level, unthought through opinion on videos that I react to, right? So although you might look at this and say, he likes Kanye West too much, to be honest, I also like Jewish people too. I listen to rabbis, and I know it sounds like I'm doing the old I got a black friend thing, right? But hey, I do take in as much Jewish culture as I do Christian culture, right? So me as an individual, I do. You look at my subscriptions and my stories and stuff that I do, I'm impartial to your race and your religious beliefs. I look at you as a person and what you do, right? That is me as an individual. It's not for everybody. Everyone has their politics and preconceived notions of who people are, but that's your life, it's your business. I don't care, right? But in terms of Kanye West, I still like Kanye West as an individual. Although he does some mad things, says some mad things to me, I still like the music he does, and I like his creative outlook and the inventive nature he has in life, right? Just like I like Elon Musk for the same reasons, right? Although I've come across these people at very different times in my life, right? So yeah, I like Kanye West as an individual. Although I don't know if I ever met Kanye West, we would get along. I don't know, right? Because meeting someone interpersonally and watching them from the internet is completely different, right? He might be cool as shit as an individual personally, or he might just be a terrible person individually, like interpersonally. I don't know, right? That's the thing with stars and parasocial relationships. That's why you should never place anybody too high on a pedestal above you as anything better than you, because they're just humans, right? And obviously, clearly, they make mistakes too, right? So you tell me what you think about this. Give me your opinion. Do you remember all of these rants, all of this exposing of contracts and shady business? Do you remember it? And do you remember what Ice Cube done, right? Let me know what Ice Cube done and why Kanye just threw him under the bus like that. Yeah, you tell me what you know, right? I'd love to know. Just interact in the comments. And like I said, it's not meant to offend anybody, but at the same time, if you feel offended by what I say, I would like to congratulate you with a humongous fuck you, right? Because this is real people keeping real people real, geezers in the van talking nonsense, yeah, keeping freedom of speech free, right? Not my intention to hurt anybody or berate anybody. It's just an opinion from a shallow surface level, right? So take it however you want, right? Thank you for your time. I appreciate you watching. Let me know what you think, right? Check out my main channel at CNCCMI. Also, reach me on all social platforms, and now sign up to Patreon. Maybe I might have to put a video like this over on Patreon, because who knows, this may not be suitable content for a very open platform like YouTube. Maybe this might have to be over there. You tell me what you think. Chances are, when you see this, you'll get to decide anyway, right? But thank you for your time. Was I too shallow? Did I not dive into it enough? Or did I overanalyze it, right? Did I give too much partiality to Kanye West and not enough partiality to the Jewish man and woman's plight, right? You let me know, right? Because I could talk about this for hours, but I can't. I'm at work like you are. So yeah, thank you for your time. Drivers Mate Podcast. See you later.